Yo, Shortbox Nation, this is Botter, and I'm here to tell you right now that con season starts early this year with the return of Northeast Florida's premier anime, comic book, and sci-fi event, Collective Con. That's right, Northeast Florida's largest pop culture convention returns for its 10th year on March 8th through the 10th at the Prime Osborne Center in Jacksonville, Florida. 10 years of Collective Con, they're pulling all the stops out to make sure this is a can't-miss event. And the guest list they got going, don't even get me started on the guest list. I mean, they've got A-list celebrity guests and voice actors from some of your favorite movies, anime, and video games like Elijah Wood and Sean Ashton, Ray Park, Trisha Helfer, Ross Marquand, Max Middleman, and Bo-Katan herself will be there, Katie Sackhoff. Tell me what other convention is giving you the opportunity to meet Frodo and Sam from Lord of the Rings, Darth Maul, and One Punch Man all under the same roof. Only at Collective Con. And if you're looking to get some of your favorite comics signed, or if you want to get an original sketch from some of the best comic artists in the world, well, you're in luck, because there'll be plenty of comic and creator guests there, like DC comic artist extraordinaire Clay Mann, Harvey Award-nominated illustrator John Taylor Christopher, Marvel and DC cover artist Chris Stevens, and acclaimed Star Wars author Timothy Zahn. They'll all be at Collective Con this year. And if you're looking to bring the family, or if you want to make a weekend out of it, you're in luck, because there'll be so much going on at Collective Con that weekend in the form of vendors, fan panels, video game tournaments, cosplay contests, after parties, and a bunch of fan events. You can purchase single and 3-day weekend passes now using the link in this episode's show notes, or by going to collectivecon.com to book your tickets and hotel. Buy your tickets now, and I'll see you at Collective Con, March 8th through the 10th. Now let's start the show.
The year is 2005. Close your eyes. Let's go back. That year, the video sharing website YouTube was founded. Microsoft released the Xbox 360 gaming console in North America, and Batman Begins is released in theaters. But let's look a little further. A young Canadian up-and-comer has her artwork published in an anthology showcasing 24-hour comics. It's now 2020, and that same artist has won multiple Eisner, Harvey, and Hugo Awards on a little comic you might have heard of called Saga.
I love you, Mommy!
But, Shortbox family, you and I both know awards often fail in attribution and recognition. So, join us if you will in welcoming our newest in the hallowed halls of the Artist Spotlight, the magnificent Fiona Staples.
Yeah, and playback, I was like, man, we are really, like, we don't give a hell about any of these, like, shows or announcements.
God, can't wait to listen to all that.
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember it being that bad.
Man.
I could be wrong.
We were talking about Disney, so Botter interpreted it as gloom and doom.
Okay.
Seeing as how he already works there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's got Mickey Mouse ice cubes.
Damn it.
Had no idea.
That was a good.
right.
I didn't even think
That's
about
pretty
it. Yeah, you got me there, Ashley. You got me there.
Now I know where your bread's buttered. Now I know.
How about we go ahead and get this show started? Yo, Shortbox Nation, welcome back. And for our listeners tuning in for the first time, welcome to the show. You're now listening to episode 307 of the Shortbox Podcast. I'm your host, Botter Milligan, a.k.a. the Morocco Kid. If you haven't pressed...
A.k.a. Fingers.
Yes.
Fingers?
For the record, I don't like fingers as a nickname. I have no idea what it means.
I didn't make this up. You told me you liked it. Hold on. Listen to the...
I'm telling...
It's a private
I am
nickname.
Botter,
Private.
and I enjoy these nicknames that you give me.
No.
See, you said it right there. It was recorded.
That's a deep fake. That is a deep fake. Anyways, listeners, if you haven't pressed the subscribe button on whatever podcast app you're listening with, please do so, because today's episode is just one of the many types of shows we like to do here at the Shortbox. So if this ends up being your cup of tea, I guarantee you'll like what we have to offer going forward. Today's episode is actually a break from our usual comic spotlight and news coverage. Instead, we're going to be spotlighting a comic artist that we feel you should know by now. Well, specifically an artist that our Patreon subscribers feel strongly about. So if the intro or episode title didn't answer that for you by now, no worries, you'll be reminded soon enough. But first, allow me to introduce my panel of reliable and longtime friends and co-hosts here with me in the Shortbox studio. Starting clockwise, Even though he's sitting to my left, he's still my right-hand man. I'm talking about Cesar Cordero.
That was cute.
A.K.A. Latino Lightning is here with us today.
Oh, my God.
Like that.
Yeah, that's pretty fire, right?
That is
right?
good.
Yeah, I like it. Okay. Okay. Bro, you're going to get a sneaky spider for that one.
Oh, God, please no. The artist known as Edbot5000 by his online fans is on the mic.
Okay, you didn't. That's a little bit lengthy.
No,
Say about 5,000.
no. Well, Edmund Danzart, a.k.a. Shanghai Buns, is in the building.
Shanghai Buns.
Here we go. I can't wait for this.
And last,
Here we go.
but not least,
Wait for it.
returning to us from her ski trip in the Aspens.
In the Aspens?
Aspens?
Is plural?
It's more than one mountain, bro.
Coming at you from the San Franciscos.
Returning to us from her ski trip, and she's got the boots to match too, man. I mean, come on, is none other than the Duchess of the Short Box. Ashley Laney Ahoy is here with us in the Short Box studio as well.
I feel like that reliable was like a shot at me because I just missed 2 weeks in a row.
That's the subtle passive aggressive way of Potter saying, "I've docked your pay."
Yeah, that's subtle and passive is the only way I get my shots in at this show because Ed and Cesar are so damn direct.
Bro, but your fingers, your AKA fingers.
No, please don't make that a thing.
All
right,
sweet moccasins, though.
Oh, thanks. They're very
We're
comfortable.
also fortunate enough to be joined by a special in-studio audience member today. He's one of the coolest dudes I've had the honor of meeting recently. He's a photographer and filmmaker doing a stand-up job putting a positive light on the city and the people making it a better and more creative place. I want to acknowledge Mr. Mark Mangra for hanging out with us today. He's here filming this week's episode. He's filming for an upcoming project. We're excited to see how it turns out. So do yourself a favor and follow Mark on Instagram. He's at Mark Mangra. Show him some love, give him a follow, and tell him how awesome.
You can also check out his work at markmangra.com as well. I actually just he told me, yes, you can. I said, how do I see your shit, man? And he was like, well,
who
just go
are
to this
you?
website.
Prove it.
I was like, reveal yourself. Reveal yourself. And
Just walking
honestly,
with a camera.
dude, honestly, it's good shit.
Nice.
Like he's phenomenal.
Yeah. Mark, try to get Ed blushing right now, turning red, all right? Thank you so
It's
much.
the alcohol.
Oh, yeah, word. So I forgot that Ashley was going to be supplying the booze this episode.
Oh, yes.
So heads up, about maybe, I think, 25 minutes in, this will become a complete shit show. So be prepared for that. Should be some fun. One last thing before we get into the main event. We're fortunate enough to have a group of awesome supporters who play a major role in helping us maintain and grow this podcast that I'd like to acknowledge first, starting with the comic shop Gotham City Limit. They're a proud sponsor of this here show. Gotham City Limit is Jacksonville's premier place for comics, toys, collectibles, and more. If you live in Jax or if you ever find yourself passing through the city, stop by the shop on Southside Boulevard and tell Ben the Short Box sent you. Lastly, this episode is made possible in part by donations from our Patreon subscribers. Their contributions help us continue improving the show by paying for equipment and other necessary upgrades. Thanks to them, we're able to grow the show and continue the production of episodes like the one you're enjoying now. So if you're interested in supporting the show and earning our eternal gratitude and some awesome rewards along the way, visit patreon.com/theshortbox to become a patron or click the link in this episode's description. And it's not just donations that they provide. Our patrons also vote on episode topics and subjects for artist spotlight episodes like this one. So let's give it up one more time for our sponsor and patrons and get started on another installment of our artist spotlight series.
Give us your fucking money.
I was waiting for it. I was like,
I
man,
haven't done it in a while.
Yeah, you're right. Remind them, man, that we need their fucking money. Hey, real quick, speaking of patrons and supporters of the show,
Give us your money.
I saw Tony Aopi, who's a good friend of the show.
Oh, I know
He's
where
been
this
on
is
the
going.
show himself.
Oh.
I seen him at Chamlin's the other day, and I want to say it was his wife or significant other that was with him, and she was like, me and Tony were chatting, and she was like, "Oh, is this Botter from the Short Box?"
Oh, man.
And I was like, "Oh, I haven't had a chance to meet you. How'd you know my name?" And she was like, "Oh, he mentions the show a lot." And Tony was like, "Yeah," and my son oftentimes will chime in like when I'm listening to you guys as, "Oh, Daddy, are you listening to the podcast of all the cursing on it?"
Yes.
That hit me hard.
Yeah, Matt, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't proud of that at the moment. I was
Yeah,
like,
I was like, oh,
we
snap.
might
I kind of
need
like
to
it.
watch our mouth. So this one goes out to you, Tony
Yo,
Aopi.
shout outs to
and
these
son.
children and their fucking dads. All those sweet ass fucking dads.
That's more commentary on his parenting than us.
I'm just saying.
Nah, yo,
our shows-
Tony is doing him justice. He's raising him right. I mean,
He's like, yo.
It's better
Also-
than hearing it on the streets.
And I also remember the episode, and I'm sure Tony's son remembers, where Botter said, when you go out, don't wear a mask. And hug as many people as you can.
It's a
and
liberal
hug
hoax.
as many couple. Yeah, this is
I
not
don't.
my words.
Hospitals are going out of business.
It's not my words. It's Botter's words.
I swear to God, these deep fakes keep getting better. and
Botter
better.
said, "Just don't. It's all a myth."
I didn't say any of that. But anyways, this episode marks the 13th installment in our Artist Spotlight series. The previous two artists that we've covered this year actually have been Art Adams back in episode 293 and Frank Vazetta before him in episode 284. This one's special, man, because we're covering Fiona Staples. It was voted on by our patrons. She will not only be our youngest and most modern day artist, comparatively, to be spotlighted, but it's also the first female comic book artist that we've spotlighted in this series. So I think it's a big deal. I think this will be really cool. For those of our listeners hearing her name for the first time, I need a really brief introduction. Fiona Staples is a Canadian comic artist best known for being a co-creator on the science fiction series Saga, which I think every time we bring up, we just sing its praises. It's a high noon. It's spectacular. So she is a co-creator of Saga. That series is written by Brian K. Vaughan. She's in charge of all the artwork. She's also an artist on other books such as North 40, Deviate Gods and Monsters, Thunder Agents, and Archie. Yep, that Archie. She has won multiple Eisner and Harvey Awards between 2013 and 2017. And when I say like multiple, she pretty much dominated the Eisner Awards for like best comic artist, best inker, best cover artist in that time period. I mean, her list of accolades is really impressive.
Yeah, they moved, I think, categories so they could give her more awards because I think she won like a multimedia award. Since I guess digital painting was kind of like, because it's usually like pencil or inker teams. But yeah, she's swept those awards.
She was also voted the #1 female comic book artist of all time by readers, so like by the fans and comic book resources like awards in 2015. So that was pretty cool to read too. And I believe at the moment she is still currently doing Saga as her primary work. I wasn't able to find too much information on any other comics or projects that she's working on. It looks like Saga is her main bread and butter, in addition to maybe like commissions and just like the occasional
covers, and stuff,
occasional covers here and there. But Saga, I do know, is on break as of 2018. Like that's been a long break. The last issue of Saga was published in July 2018 with issue number 54. See, I'm gonna go to you to kick us off, man. What was your first conscious exposure to Fiona Staples' body of work?
I mean, I don't think I'm alone in this, in that the first time I ever saw an issue of Saga, it was actually, I think you and Drew were both talking about Saga, and you guys were like, yo, Saga is remaining consistently good and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what is Saga? What is that? And you guys were like, it's like Star Wars. And you couldn't have been more wrong. Number one.
Dare you.
Number two, because Saga's good. No,
Zing.
I was like, okay, so it's like Star Wars. And one, it's not. It's 100% a brilliant character-driven story about a husband and a wife and their little baby girl, and trying to what their life looks like in a crazy world, and how they expanded their family out of love. And all of the science fiction, space opera stuff is a beautiful metaphor for what life can be. So the first time I saw it was actually thanks to you guys. I went out and I just bought a trade because it was already well into the series at that point. And I read the first trade and I was like, I got to keep going. Like, this was one of the few comics that I would buy on a single issue basis every month, or at least whenever it came out. It's amazing. Of course, Saga. Yeah.
Ashley, Ed, outside of Saga, were there any other bodies of work or comics that she had done that maybe you guys were first introduced to her by?
I think I'm the same as Ed because we're both Steve Niles fans. So Mystery Society was my first one, but it didn't really blow me away. Like, I thought it was good, but it wasn't Saga good when it came out.
She's still kind of finding her style, which you can see some elements of what she does in Saga as far as like coloring and things like that and character design, but she's way more evolved artist now.
Sure.
You know what? While we're talking about bodies of work and stuff like that, because I do feel like Saga is, that I think it's safe to say her magnum opus. Was there any? Did you guys come across in your research like any lesser known or interesting side projects from her early days?
I'd say North 40. That's something that's pretty cool. A little 6-issue miniseries where like the idea is that you have superpowers, but it's based on your location. So if you go past the county line, you don't get your powers anymore. That's like a really interesting idea.
That's cool.
Artwork's superb, of course.
I was
going to say, that's the one thing I like about her is that regardless of how long she's been in the game, which relatively speaking, in comic book years is not too long, she has got such a titanic record, and her artwork like speaks for itself. Like you can literally see a gradual, like there's no decline. It's like only getting better. Everything she does, every project she attaches her name to is steadily increasing in quality.
Yo, this is Botter. Sorry for interrupting this episode, but I'll keep it brief. I wanted to let you know about a massive sale we have going on over at the Shortbox Store on all of our merchandise and apparel. That's theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com. You can now save 20% off your entire order using the discount code YOO, Y-O-O. So if you've been waiting for the right time to finally buy that gauntlet snapback, or if you ever wanted to buy any of the shirts you see me wear on the podcast, well, now's your chance to get them for a steal. We still have a few sizes left of everything, but they won't last long, and once they're gone, they are gone. And then I mentioned that all of our apparel is screen printed on high quality material. None of that heat transfer or direct to garment stuff. Our shirts are some of the most comfortable ones you'll ever wear, and the hats look even better in person. So wear your support for the Shortbox Nation proudly, knowing that you're going to look damn good doing it. Get to theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com as soon as you can, and don't forget to use that discount code YOO, Y-O-O, to save 20% off your entire order. All of this information can be found in this episode's show notes if you want to get there faster. Thanks for not pressing fast forward. Now back to the show.
Yeah, I'll say, when Fiona Staples won the poll to be this week's Artist Spotlight episode, I was talking to C, like, man, this will be an interesting one because we don't have a large body of work or history with her to pull from for a full episode. And I was a little hesitant at first. I love Fiona Staples as much as the next person, and I know exactly why she won that poll. I think for a lot of modern readers or readers who recently got back into comic books or into comic books in the last 5 years or 10 years, I think Saga is at the top of their list. I think Fiona Staples is a household name in that sense. But the more research I was able to do, I just couldn't help but be impressed by like such a meteoric like rise. It was almost like it kind of begged the question for me, like, yo, where has she been this whole time? Like she kind of at a very high level glance was like. Yeah, at a very high level initial glance, it's like, yo, where did she come from? But then you dig a little deeper, and it's like, man, she's been kind of cutting her teeth with like these side projects, anthology stories, and whatnot. And I wanted to bring up that she actually did a on brand for my Marvel Love brand, but she did a short Spider-Woman story in Astonishing Tales #3 that came out in 2009. So this was about 1 or 2 years before Saga #1 dropped. And her most recent body of work was a pinup in the latest Joker 80th anniversary 100-page spectacular. She had like a one-page kind of spread. And I'll mention one more. She did a cover for Ghost Rider, the Robbie Reyes series.
Go on.
So from 2014, she did Ghost Rider #11. That cover. So it, like during my research, it was fun to like, oh wow, I didn't know she did that cover. Oh wow, she was doing like this little side project or whatnot.
It works with her style for sure.
Big time. Adam, I'm gonna go to you, man. What are 3 new things that you learned about Fiona Staples during your research? Whether it be like something regarding her career,
trivia perhaps, or
trivia.
Maybe some. One of the fun things is because, like I said before, she seems to be very private, so it's and the interviews that I've read are still like several years old, but one of the fun things I saw was like one of her first kind of like aha moments, I guess, was seeing like heavy metal, and she like lists that as an influence because that's her first painted comic she's seen, and that's kind of like where it kind of clicked in her head where comics can have different styles, because heavy metal is like a mishmash of different styles,
right? And
that was kind of fun, hearing her mention heavy metal, just even because of her age too, because that's like an older property. Oh, and I guess like I know we'll probably get into it more, but just her process, I wasn't too familiar with how she worked. But yeah, the heavy metal thing, and then the fact she worked in a comic store and didn't really get into comic books till like high school.
Yeah.
So, which, a lot of us, we started reading, as like little kids. Like our dad would give us comics to keep us, distracted.
I think the most surprising piece of, it's not really a piece of trivia, it's just that she only did 3 issues of that Archie series. Like, I was like really excited to pick up those issues again, because I remember only buying the first issue when it dropped in 2015. So, prepping for this episode, I was really excited to like go back and revisit like Saga and Archie. And I didn't know that she only did the first 3 of Archie. I felt robbed. I was like, how could you
one
do
trade's
this?
worth? Well, I think like that gig was more of like they wanted her to kind of modernize the look or make it more contemporary looking, more than having her have a long run on the comic book.
Imagine trying to follow up after Fiona Staples on like Archie of all things, which I think it is 2012 we got Image Comics published the first issue of Saga. I think that was safe to say a game changer. And then the very next project is yet another very iconic I felt like an honor, like you said, it was the 75th anniversary of Archie, and not only did they bring in like Mark Waid, who's a fantastic writer, but they brought in like Fiona Staples, who I think it, with all due respect, you could probably think of a bunch of other artists that would be just as worthy for that honor. But the fact that Fiona Staples got it, I think, speaks a lot to like how much of a hot commodity she was.
What do you think? So you're talking about Image and when Saga hit and how at the time it was sort of like a juggernaut. Is that the same time period that Image decided that every single one of their trades was going to be $9.99 if it's the first one?
I don't know.
I know that the first Saga trade was only $9.99, so it was so easy to sell.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like, I think it was like this. Whether it was planned, tactical, in some sort of weird way, it was like the return of Image as sort of like the badass powerhouse they used to be in the 90s, right? Because around that time, like you had a bunch of other sort of like comics coming out. When did Deadly Class come out?
It was, I just remember people coming into the shop and I could recommend them Saga, Deadly Class, Southern Bastards, Rat Queens.
Absolutely, Rat Queens.
Well, I think
yes.
Image became a place where heavy hitter creators could come and do their own thing.
Big time.
Rather than it being like it became kind of this weird vanity press for a lot of kind of strange indie titles. Sure. Outside when you had those big guns at Marvel, leave. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's
I think that's kind of the other part of the equation is you have to have the talent, right? Yeah. To back it up. Like you said, like the big guns at Marvel, it's not just you're an indie darling and you get, whatever, you can be on Image and that's your book, right? We like the little guy. It's like...
And I think is when maybe Eric Larson took over and kind of cleaned up a lot of the weird kind of black and white titles.
Fringy type stuff.
Fringy stuff, yeah.
She came in right, like, man, couldn't have been at a better time, especially for exposure's sake.
And it's the best deal because, I think it's been like this almost since the beginning. You basically own your property, so you can shop it around because comics are almost like spec scripts or, just to shop around to get licensed out to movies or other media.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley, can you help us understand her artistic process? Because I know that she does a majority of her work mainly digital, which isn't, groundbreaking. There's a lot of modern artists that do digital work, but I think she has a unique spin to it. Can you help walk us through that?
The process that I saw, usually, regular comic book process is you do your layouts and your rough pencils, and then you go in and define your pencils, go over it in ink, and then do the colors digitally. But if you're doing all of that, it gets repetitive. So the way that she does it is she does more of like rough layouts where she said she can go outside, go to a coffee shop, not have to be inside in front of the computer. And then she scans them and works over them. And so she does the inks digitally. So you're not, if you mess up, you're not going over it in whiteout and redoing it. So she doesn't have to have those tight pencils and then ink over it. There's a much broader, because on the computer you can just erase it. No big deal. It's so much not easier because the way she does it is still crazy.
It's a matter of convenience.
Yeah, exactly. So she's not afraid to make a wrong line.
Right. And it's like, instead of drawing, it's like a process of painting where you kind of block in shapes, but then you kind of go over it with layers and layers and kind of fine tune it.
Her backgrounds are like completely painted. She just does like big color shapes and then works in from there, which is so time consuming. But I think that even somebody not being an artist, you can look at those, like her full splash pages and stuff are just like works of art. And her covers and things like that, like even not knowing a lot about her process, you can look at that and tell that it's something special.
And it's not a style that's obviously, because some digital stuff looks kind of cheesy, can look kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
If it's all digital, but her stuff kind of plays in both realm. And I was kind of surprised it was 100% digital, because I thought she would do like kind of the tight lines and inks, but then do the backgrounds and stuff in Painter or what she uses Photoshop and
Manga Studio. Is there anything like groundbreaking or noteworthy of Manga Studio? Has anyone used that program at all?
It's been recommended. I've never really used it.
Yeah, I've never tried it.
I've seen like a tutorial on it, and it's really cool. It's a lot of time.
I think it's more for like layouts and stuff. It's a better program for layouts, laying out actual pages.
Yeah, it's she's very smart too. On top of like being really artistic to like learn all of this stuff,
and it speeds up the process too. So you're not having this fine. Because I saw one interview where she says that I guess her agent or whatever,
her art distributor.
She's like, "Oh man, it's like you should do more originals because there's no originals. There's just."
Oh, that's crazy. Man,
that's like a secondary market where you can make a lot more money.
Yeah, I got here.
Get that Mike Mignola sketchbook money.
Right?
I got here to Ed's point. Quote, she has said that her art distributor is, quote, perpetually disappointed in her as fans would pay steep prices for inks and pencils, which makes me like her a lot more because it's all about the art and the process for her. Like learning about her, and thank you so much, Ashley, for walking us through that process. Hearing how she does her process, to me, it paints her in a very meticulous and thought-provoking light. Like she clearly has a plan and she attacks it in a certain way. And as someone who isn't, an artist himself, when I look at her work, it just looks so seamless and it isn't like the most hyper stylized or detailed or a bunch of line work. Like you look at it, and I know in my younger years, I'd look at her artwork like, man, I wonder how much effort is put into this, with full due respect, because she makes it look so effortless. But then to read about her process in detail, it's like, man, like it looks effortless because she put so much time and thought into it. Like you said, Ashley, like it looks like she has a plan. And it's not like just kind of going in blind or willy-nilly.
And I think a lot of it is a practical thing, too, because I read that she was living in a kind of a smaller, like a studio apartment. So she doesn't have that studio space to have like a giant drawing table, set up with a bunch of reference books and things like that. So I think a lot of it is, practical, too, especially entering this kind of this digital age, digital printing, where those colors, you don't have to put them on a wall and photograph of them and make, do that old school printing. You can digitally print it and those colors will translate a lot better than like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, that's true.
See, I want to hear your thoughts on her art style. But first, before we go any further, we got a quick word from our sponsor to share. Let's play this very short commercial and we'll be right back. Hey, Shortbox Nation. Sorry for the interruption, but we want to talk about one of our favorite comic shops that happens to be a proud sponsor of this here podcast.
You talking about Gotham City Limits?
Whoa, Batman, what are you doing here?
It's just me, Potter at sea. I've got laryngitis, but you know what doesn't have laryngitis? Jacksonville's premier location for comic books, collectibles, toys, and more.
Oh, and don't forget, Pool customers get 10% off their comics.
Shut up, I'm talking now, punk. Gotham City Limits offers free bags and boards.
And 20% off trades and hardcovers.
I don't need a Robin for this ad spot.
But Batman, you're forgetting about the most important part about Gotham City Limit. It's a comic shop welcome to everyone, for the diehard collectors and the new fans.
I told you I'm not Batman, but have Alfred get the car ready. I'm rich, so it's on me. We're going to Gotham City Limits to spend some money on comics.
All right, and we're back. See, I'm gonna go to you, man. If I was to ask you to describe Fiona Staples' art style, what are some words that come to mind?
So I'm gonna be a little controversial and say I disagree with you in that I think she does have a distinct style, and here's why. I would say that, well, you mentioned earlier, you're making a face. You mentioned earlier, like, she may not look like she has a style, whatever. I would say, look at Dan DeCarlo's artwork. there's a reason why she was chosen for Archie. He did a lot of like cheesecake work that has influenced a lot of guys, i.e. Bruce Timm has straight out 100% verbally said, all of my girls that I draw like on Justice League or Batman are like based off of Dan DeCarlo. Like that's how I do like girls. But at the same time, like if you look at Archie and all of his stuff there with the guys as well, his anatomy is right, but the faces are a little cartoony. Yeah. So I don't think they could have gotten just anybody to do Archie.
Difficult.
Right. Exactly.
The faces are so cartoony.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could have done it except for her, because she more or less, that's her bread and butter. Like she can do the anatomies the right way, but she'll bend the rules a little bit when it comes to her anatomy. When you look at her face, sometimes she'll make an eye like whoop, like pop out a little larger than it would in real life. But you allow it. You're like, yeah, I can. Yeah, no, that's fine. It's within the realm of my believability because I'm having so much fun reading the story, and all of her artwork is so damn kinetic. Ashley, you were talking about the backgrounds that she does. I think I read somewhere that it's almost like she approaches the comic from like an animation standpoint, where she does the backgrounds like cell animation. Yeah. Like do those first, make sure they look tight and good. Right. And then like add that weird sort of blur and then make it look like there's a depth of field, which is amazing. And that's what I would say to anybody like, and that's kind of why we're doing this show, right? We're doing this episode to basically say, hey, if you don't know anything about her, we can give you the technical jargon. We can give you all of like the insider know from the comic book heads. But if you don't know anything about her, and maybe this is your first episode, I highly recommend you get into Fiona Staples. Yeah. Because she makes it so easy for you. Like, that's the best thing about her, is that she's approachable as an artist. Yeah. You could look at her stuff and be like, oh, okay. Like, it's almost unassuming. She's like the Clark Kent glasses of artists, you know, because they're about to come off and you're like, oh shit, she's actually Superman. What the fuck? You know, like, this is crazy.
Yeah. What's cool about that style too is it is very accessible. And so when you do see a dragon, when you do see a spaceship, sure. Like, oh, geez, you know, when you see that troll with a giant nutsack, right? You know, it's like, it's like, oh my God. And it's almost like, I know this is a stretch, but it's almost like,
the nutsack?
Well, like a Junji Ito story where everybody looks plain normal. No, but then when you see like the horror, the impact is greater.
Junji Ito does the same thing with anatomy. Like his
characters and backgrounds are just like perfectly just well drawn, normal,
and they don't look like the Tezuko sort of large eyed anime or manga in this case, like stereotype. Like he draws them, you know, fairly anatomically correct, just like our good friend Fiona Staples does, and then just plays a little bit with that, just tweaks it a little.
But then you do see like the horror, the body horror stuff, it's a lot more shocking.
Right.
Because the style is not too stylized to where it's jarring already right off the bat. And it's like, that's why it makes it, because the people, they look like people for the most part.
Right.
It's not too, you know, just like say a Sienkiewicz or Ashley Wood, where a non-comic reader would be like, what is this?
Right, right. It's not surrealist. It's like
hard to get past that art style, but it's so accessible, and it looks like, and I haven't seen her mention it, but this looks like someone who's, I just see her stuff and it's like I see Fashion Illustration and like fashion magazines.
So, okay, and you guys might look at me like I'm crazy, but as far as like who I would compare her to, I have two in my brain that's going to be like, what? One of them is John Byrne, because he has kind of like that cartoony style. Not like Todd McFarlane is John Byrne turned up to like 21. And Joe Madureira is the other person I would say, because it sounds so weird and so crazy, but Joe Mad is more or less known for that weird sort of cartoony style, but also his anatomy is good and it's kinetic and it moves, and it's like whenever I remember the first time I saw his artwork was in an X-Men comic where they're playing baseball the first few pages.
Oh, yeah. Cyclops pitching?
Yeah. And you're like, this is crazy. I've never seen these characters play baseball. And then like Fiona Staples is the same way. It's like, wow, I've never seen a spaceship move this way, or I've never seen anybody like run after their child. Like I feel it, you know, like, and it's, she is, while also being an artist, she is also very, very accessible to anybody who could just walk into a comic book store like Gotham City Limits and just pick up a comic. You know, that's what I would recommend.
Ashley, who would you want to add? Who would you say are her modern day peers or like obvious inspirations or influences to you?
Well, the only one that I think sort of kind of rivals her is Stefan Sejic. But like when he really tries, because I know we've all seen like him not trying, and I don't think she would ever put artwork out as quickly as he does sometimes. But when he really tries and does really nice stuff, that's what, makes me think that it reminds me of her.
I can see his stuff being like pretty much 100% digital.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his stuff, I think it is all digital. And you can tell like what he really puts himself into, and it reminds me of Fiona Staples.
So the two words that kind of come to mind for me when I think Fiona Staples is organic. And I heard her on a podcast interview. She mentioned how Brian K. Vaughan would alter the story or his script to leverage her strength and things that she likes to draw. She mentioned that she doesn't like to draw like technology or hardware or things like that. She really prefers like organic things. That's why a lot of like spaceships.
I mean, for God's sakes, one of the rocket ships in Saga is a damn tree.
Yes,
Yeah, the
exactly.
main one is,
exactly.
that
So
makes
like,
sense.
so hearing that, it made a lot of her design decisions that I see in Saga like make sense. Like, yo, this is what she likes to draw.
I didn't know that.
He gives her a lot of flexibility, which is really cool. It's not like Alan Moore or somebody.
Yeah. and that's a spotlight I want to put on is that their pairing. This is I feel like I always have a conversation about like who are some of the best comic book pairings. Like Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips come to mind for like.
I thought you were
really
going to be
good.
like, yo, Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. Oh,
Stan
did I
Lee
say
and-
Jack Kirby and Stan Lee?
No, he'd be Stan Lee first. He'll say Stan Lee
right,
first.
right.
Stan Lee, Steve Ditko. Stan Lee,
Well, I was gonna say
You've got your greats.
so like Ed
Stan Lee and
Brubaker,
that other guy.
Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips from Modern.
Of course,
I mean, like
yeah.
Tim Sale, Jeff Loeb.
Right.
But like Ed Brubaker and I think Fiona Staples, that is a name that I don't think gets brought up enough. And to hear like their relationship and their work and how they work together makes me enjoy Saga a lot more. Like to know that Brian K. Vaughan, as soon as he saw her artwork, he was like, yo, this is it. Like you have the style for this world I'm building.
You forgot the other creative duo of Ashley and C, Testicle City, 2021. Keep an eye out. Keep an eye out, 2021.
Yeah, y'all gonna be top 5 when
Thought
that drop.
troll had a big nutsack.
Keep an eye out. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one.
And the last word that comes to mind for me is imagination. Like her body of work to me, because she does so much of the design. Like a lot of the interviews I was reading was exactly, is that she is she gets that co-creator credit because of the amount of work that she does with the character designs. I think she has a big influence on the what the worlds look like, the aliens.
Oh yeah, just a real quick side note. Another thing is like they switch top billings on each issue.
Really?
Which I didn't notice that.
I did not notice
odd
that.
note or
That's
odd
cool.
issues, Fiona gets top billing, and even issues, Brian K.
Oh,
gets
that's
top
awesome.
billing. It's like a little thing because I'm
Yeah.
a trade guy, so that's not something you'd notice.
Yeah, and I know that Brian K. Vaughan, like whenever they talk about Saga, he's always like, "This is her book. Like, this is like not
is so
just-
endearing, man.
He's like, "This
That is
isn't
so
my
endearing.
book. Like, this
got
is,
my money.
Like, this is her. Yeah, like this is like her book as well. Like, it's not like one person's book over the other. It's like such a cool thing for him to.
And
to
she's
say.
pretty like on the other side of that. It's like because I've seen things where people ask, "Well, how much input do you get on a story?" He's like, "I'm not a writer. He's the established writer."
It's a really cool
Right,
sense of
right.
respect.
But
yeah.
I'm sure it's like, don't kill Goose,
and
son of a
I-
bitch.
and I won't limit it to just Saga because, like I said, I read like this Archie digest special, and it contained like the first 3 issues, which are the only ones that Fiona Staples does. But the
Man,
fact
that
that
really is a sore point for you.
yeah, man.
It's just like
I was
mentioned
like
3 issues.
I was like,
Lazy.
I was like, even Archie pulled the old, we're going to have a really top billing artist on, the first 2 and swap. It got me. Anyways, but the fact that she was brought in to help redesign and give like the Archie cast a fresh take, I think that speaks a lot to like her design and imagination. Like, yo,
Her characters look like they
Exactly.
just go off, or they're right off the runway.
75
like her
years
female
of
characters.
75 years of Archie, and I don't think I could have, in retrospect, thought of a better artist. Even though I know that there's probably plenty of artists that would be worthy of that opportunity. The fact that Fiona Staples got to it first, she's one of these artists that if she gets to it first, I can't think of anyone else doing the book.
Right,
You know, like imagine the blasphemy of another artist ever touching anything Saga-wise. Like I'll even see commissions by other artists, and I'm like, how
dare you?
Son of a bitch. Fiona, you'll never know what's going on here. This guy's drawing light.
Yo, I'm snitching. Ashley, don't ever let me
his
catch you
ass.
drawing Marco or Alana.
Get Todd.
Yeah, Todd McFarlane's like, yeah, I figured I'd draw the will. This is Lion Cat. Yeah.
Yo, and I mean, Fiona Staples gave us Lion Cat. I mean,
Yeah.
Lion Cat's the best.
that alone.
And
yeah.
Goose.
Goose is
Come
so
on.
cute.
Yeah.
And
So
Dave
cute.
the sexy orc, by the way. I don't know if you got. She did a Rat
Oh, yeah, I
Quiz
got
cover.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I want Goose. I want a little toy of Goose.
Have any of you guys noticed like her color palette too? I think is interesting because she uses in the same podcast interview, they were asking her about what palettes does she use, and she mentioned like I stick to like very earthy tones. So you'll notice in my artwork a lot of browns, a lot of greens, yellows, and things like that. Did anyone else notice that?
Shh, I did now. Holla at your boy. You know what I'm saying? Brown power.
Ashley, I think you had mentioned at the top of the show that you were working at the comic shop around the time that Saga dropped. So
Yeah.
issue 1 dropped 2012. What do you remember about like the atmosphere or the feelings being in a comic shop when Saga dropped and like the quote unquote debut of Fiona Staples to a majority of fans?
It was really cool because it was this $2.99 comic, and it was so well written and well drawn. And I remember the first page is kind of rough. So when you would try to get
Giving
people,
birth, or?
yeah, she's like screaming,
Starting off
giving
with
birth,
Am I
and you're
taking
like,
a shit?
no,
Feels like I'm taking a shit.
you're like, just if you can just flip through it. And I think the stock is in the first issue, who's like one of the
my favorite.
craziest character designs, like just beautiful. And it was such an easy book to sell. And I think it went to like a fourth or fifth printing. And every time we got more in, we would sell them. We had so many new pull lists created just from this book.
And then when they started doing those like dollar issues, image firsts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like always had like a stack of those. Like $1, give it a shot.
Yeah.
You know?
It was so, and even the $9.99
Yeah, $9.99.
graphic novel, it was like, here, you get 5 issues of this. You're gonna like it. Nobody ever
Yeah, you're gonna
brought
like
it back or
You're
said that
stupid.
I was wrong.
Right. Right.
Such
you
an
remember-
easy sell.
Do you remember anyone specifically maybe bringing up the art or being like really sold on the artwork?
Everybody. Because they already knew who Brian K. Vaughan was, or a lot of them did, but they would just look at it and be like, this artwork is amazing. It was just such an easy sell. And it was like, I felt so confident because sometimes working at the shop, you have to sell stuff and sometimes you're just not that excited. Like people are like, oh, well, what Marvel book should I start reading? You're like, okay, well, let me
Were you
get
talking
in
to
this.
Botter?
Marvel, huh?
But if someone came in and they're just like, hey, I want to start something new, you're like, Saga.
Yep.
Like that's it.
So I told my sister-in-law, who does not read comics, she was like, what should I read? I'm like, Saga.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just read that shit. And she has not given me back my trade yet. I will be
That's the
talking
worst.
to her.
Do you guys want to hear some blasphemous shit from the perspective of a young foolish botter?
I'm waiting. I was about to ask you, like, what do you think, man? Like, here we go. We're gonna hear it.
Yo, so first issue Saga, March 2012. We started the show. First episode was released December 2012. Which, by the way, happy 8 years to us.
And at that point, you hadn't even seen Star Wars yet. Like you weren't
Yeah,
into the old trilogy.
I remember saying on the show that I thought, God damn it, I feel so it's so cringy. But I mean, if I can't be cringy looking back at some stupid
Bro, you
opinion I
grew,
had-
man. You grew.
Exactly. I remember saying that Fiona Staples' artwork was ugly.
Wow.
I remember like saying
Oh
like,
my
yo, this is a real interesting story, but the artwork is a little weird, right? And to like think back now, and matter of fact, I ended up rereading the first issue the first volume of Saga, and man, it still blows me away, like how good that is. But I was trying to think like, why would I say that at such a fucking dumbass young age? And I think it's because it looked like nothing I had ever seen before. You know, like the character designs, like the different things that Brian K.
What
Vaughan
were
was
you
doing.
reading before that? Was it pretty much like Marvel?
Do you have to ask?
Come on. No, I mean, you
John
didn't get
Romita
exposed to,
Senior, John Romita Senior, John
which is great
Romita
stuff.
Senior.
No, we're not dismissing that.
No,
but
no, not to disparage him,
It
but
comes
it's like
from if you're used to like Romita, and then you see that. That's kind of wow.
it's like that
No,
kid
you're
in high
pretty on
school
point.
that
Yeah. Pretty on
started
point.
out listening to Limp Bizkit but doesn't want to say he did, and now listens to freaking like Robbie Coltrane or anything. You know, like all that shit where it's like, yeah, I like jazz and I like, it's like, yeah, but bro, weren't you freaking rolling? And like in the 90s, like, wasn't that happening for you? Like,
yeah, I knew a guy who was like that. He was a painter, and he would.
Was it me?
No.
Oh, very well.
But went to a studio, or we were taking a class together, and then Lords of Acid was playing.
Oh my God,
and
Lords of Acid.
Oh. And I'm like, whose is this? And he's like, oh, that's mine. This is like Regal. Like, you only listen to, Coltrane and jazz and Miles Davis. It's like, oh, yeah, that's my Lord's.
Yeah. I actually dabble in Korn's Freak on a Leash.
So, do you know what element?
You grew, Butter. You grew.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You grew.
Thank
and
you.
also, yo, this guy doesn't like Fiona Staples. Yo, we don't like her.
He called your work trash.
Yo, he said your mom's a bitch.
So an element of Fiona Staples' artwork that I think shines through in Archie that made me appreciate some of her other bodies of work.
Just
a lot
3
more.
Issues.
Yeah, just those three issues. Just those 3 issues, people. I don't even know the artist I picked up after her, but she does such a good job of all of her panels. She draws like slice of life really well. Like at any point you could flip through any of her comics, and whatever page you land, like you kind of feel like you're in that moment with the characters. Yeah. Like you're in the room. Like she draws.
That's the hardest stuff to draw.
Yeah, man. Like it feels natural. Like whatever's transpiring. Like you've landed at the right moment with Fiona Staples' body of work. You're kind of like, wow, they feel like they're having a natural conversation. Like there is a real relationship or chemistry among these characters.
Sure. Like when Veronica Lodge kind of throws Archie like a little smirk. Like, okay, she's got a little bad girl in her. Like she thought it was funny that her dad's construction like just went to complete shit and that Archie's kind of a klutz, and the way she I don't know if you guys read the Archie shit, like when Archie comes home and he sees that his car's been fixed and he doesn't know who did it. And it was Betty Cooper who did it. It's like, oh, to capture complete, all of the like beautiful feminine qualities while also showing someone like working on a car and getting dirty and filthy.
Gave her
like
kind of like that tomboy aesthetic,
really
like jeans and t-shirts,
seamless, like completely like it's not like a by the way girls can do stuff. It's like of course they can, and also she's a peach, she's the girl you want to like introduce to your parents, and it's all of that done without any words, just her work, like phenomenal.
Fiona Staples also has a lot of like her artwork has a lot of sex appeal, but it's not like
you sick bastard, you sick
but not
bastard.
in that way at all,
Dare
right?
you.
Like I think at first, like especially in a lot of like her saga, especially like the 1-page spreads, like Ashley was mentioning, can come off shocking at first, but once you get past like that initial kind of shock factor of like, whoa, I'm seeing testicles in a fucking comic book, I don't know.
No, I know what you're saying. So she can navigate sex appeal very, very efficiently in the way that, like, you look at somebody like Alana, who's a beautiful looking character, right? Very beautiful, very pretty, astonishingly stunning. And then you look at somebody like the Stalk, who is supposed to look sort of vampy, She's also a pretty character in the sense, but in a different way, right? Like, and you look at somebody like the Will, pre-Fat Will. Fat Will is awesome. But like the Will looks like he's in like coming straight out of like a romance novel. Like she has all these like nuances to drawing people that are beautiful and sexy, and she does it like again completely seamless. Where it's just like, oh, you want me to draw like a vampy chick? Done. Oh, you need me to draw somebody girl next door? Done. But they're all hot. Like Ed was saying, like to his point, like fashion model, like all this stuff is like right there. Like they came off the runway and into
even
a
though
comic
it's like
book.
in a sci-fi, but you can tell like she's good at drawing different ethnic, groups.
Sure, yeah.
But it has that sci-fi coating over it,
right?
And she can really draw like kids and babies too.
Yes,
going the opposite end of what Botter is.
Yeah, wait.
Oh shit! You know who I'd compare her to? Like old school. Dick Giordano.
Yeah.
Dick Giordano, like I don't know if you guys have his like How to Draw Comics book. It's fucking awesome. But he has a whole section devoted to how to draw people at different ages, like kids, teenagers, old people, middle age, blah, blah, blah. And it's like this dude could do it with so much ease. And he's one of the best inkers ever. I mean, arguably one of the best inkers ever. And she's doing this stuff now in her career, like relatively early, So it's like,
so who knows what she's
exactly.
Because that's the thing with the other spotlights. We have people with 20+ year careers,
right?
And we can see the evolution. She's like, I don't think she's even hit her peak yet.
Right.
Her first body of work was in an anthology,
24-hour anthology comic.
2005.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
something like that.
I believe that's what the intro says.
Which, by the way, Steve, we haven't given you credit yet, but that intro, yet again, another great body of work, buddy.
It's okay. I'm better than you.
But and I want to kind of touch on real quick about her career, because first body of work 2005, 2006. Here we are about 15, 14 years later, and she is in a position where, once again, I believe the only body of work that she's actively doing right now is Saga. It's been on hiatus for 2 of those, 15, 14 years. It looks like she primarily does commissions, covers every now and then. And as Ed said, I know she's got a Twitter, but it seemed inactive.
Like I saw like a Tumblr and
yes,
but it looks like the last update was last year.
Yeah, exactly. Even I think her Instagram too, which has some really good,
some really cool
stuff.
like fan art stuff that she's doing. But yeah, her last post was last time I checked was like the end of last year.
Yeah. So this is someone who, to their name, I think you can probably say has Saga, Archie, and maybe some of the other anthologies.
Her work with Steve Niles too. Yeah, he's no slouch.
So let's say 4 or 5 like very strong bodies of work. The work that she has done has left an impression, a very large impression. To me, it's kind of similar to when we did our Alex Ross spotlight, where he came in so fast and his work had such an impact and such a signature look that he is now in a position where, I mean, we always joke like, yo, he's got the cover art gig now, which is like a
can't
certain...
afford his interiors. You cannot afford those interiors.
Nope.
So it's cool to be talking about a modern day artist, like a relatively new artist, a young artist, be in this position that many other of the artist spotlights that we've done have had to like grind and work and kind of be in the trenches with like these long bodies of like issues and whatnot. And she's already achieved that. Yeah. I think it says a lot about her work ethic and the reception that she's gotten among her peers and the community as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I like how you pause, like you're like, yo, fucking come at me. Yeah. Yo, argue with me.
A problem with that?
It's like, no,
you're like, yo, Potter, you're right, dude. You're like, yes, we agree.
Potter, you got put the gun away. Jesus, Potter, I agree with every point you're making. Please put the gun away, please.
Ashley, outside of what we've already covered, are there any other aspects that you'd like to highlight regarding Fiona Staples and why she's deserving of a spotlight? And if you also want to chime in and maybe mention any of your favorite covers or characters that she's created or bodies of work, feel free to add that.
So definitely, I mean, all the characters in Saga are so good, and I know he gave her such a wide range, so that says a lot about her character creations. I mean, definitely Goose and the Stalk and Lion Cat. They're just like so iconic, and you don't know how much he gave her to work with. I mean, obviously, he's like,
you said Goose was kind of her own. She just made him up.
Yes,
and it was so cute. He's like, yeah, I'll keep putting this guy in the book. And then I know with the troll, he said, so Marco was there with his mother. He said, draw something that you would never want to see with your mother.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And so she had just so much. Like, she can put so much creativeness into this. It's just, it's absolutely amazing. And just the fact that she started out at a comic shop and did a 24-hour comic. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to do that, but it's a pain in the butt.
It's brutal.
It's brutal. We used to do it. We would do it in college, and they would just be garbage. And the fact that hers was so good that it started her career.
She cheated.
And she, and that she
started a week
is more about the process and the finished project than trying to make the money off of it.
Right.
Because she could be selling these Saga pages for thousands of dollars, and she's not. Just says a lot about her. So even though she doesn't have this big body of work, I have so much respect for her as an artist.
And Butter's like, and I have no respect for her as a business person. How could she not sell these pages?
All that money on the table she's leaving
Thousands of dollars.
And do you have a favorite cover, body of work, or character that she's done?
I love Lion Cat. And then there's a Red Sonja cover she did, which is really cool, where she's kneeling over like a bunch of skeletons and stuff.
Hell yeah.
And that's probably one of my favorite pieces.
Metal as fuck.
She did some DV8 covers. I forget what. I think that was a DC or a Wildstorm.
DV8 is like they were originally like a Gen 13's rival Teen Mutants.
Okay,
right.
Bad guys.
Right.
I guess like who would be like that? Thunderbolt? I don't know who would be the equivalent of that, but they were kind of like the teenager Gen 13 rivals.
Yeah, she. I think she did all the covers for that. It doesn't appear to me, at least, to seem like all digital. It looks like maybe more pencil or hand coloring, but it is a good. It is a good comparison, like between like maybe because I think that series came out well before Saga. So to see that and then how her style changed and she leaned more into the digital stuff for Saga, I think it's kind of fun to like look back at those covers. See, what about you, man? Favorite body of work, cover or character she's made?
So favorite character that she has done is the Stalk. One, I'm a freaking weirdo. I think she's fucking sexy, despite what she looks like. Two, my favorite, it's a still image and it's in my house. It's hanging up. It's Alana on the ship reading a book. And it says everything.
Oh, where she's still in like the armor?
She's blowing a bubble.
Yeah, that's a great picture.
Gum. Like Sarah and I bought that print and it's in our house right now.
And that's like what you were saying, like a slice of life.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. She's like Norman Rockwell.
Bored at work. Wow. Reading those trashy romance books.
Yeah. Like it's everything is like, that's another thing I just came to me. Yeah. She's like Norman Rockwell, but for comics. And it's funny because Alex Ross is like the Norman Rockwell. So there's that connection as well. Yeah, totally.
It wouldn't be, speaking about Alex Ross, if I remember from that episode, they had stopped doing the best cover artist award because he was winning it every year. I don't know if y'all had looked at her accolade section on her Wikipedia, and it lists like every award she's won. I mean, no lie, like every year from between 2013 and 2017, she was winning every single award for best artist, best inker, best cover artist, strictly for Saga. And if it wasn't for Saga, well, either Archie was nominated or some other body of work of hers was nominated at the least. I mean, it's really impressive. I think my favorite character that she's designed and created, and I think I'm going to mess up the name, but it is the robot Prince in Saga.
Oh, Prince Robot.
Head.
Prince Robot.
Yeah, Prince Robot.
The fourth. I believe.
The fourth. Yeah.
How would you mess that up?
Man, it's
I don't like princes. I don't like robots. I don't like Mr. Robot.
I have a little trouble with this name. Prince Robot.
I don't like Prince Harry. I don't like freaking Prince Eric from The Little Mermaid.
Touche.
I don't like Purple Rain.
Yeah,
that might be my favorite character she's made.
What a great character.
Because she has so much. To me, I can kind of feel how much fun she has with him, with all the different things that she'll throw into his TV screen. There's just so many possibilities, and anytime he shows up, I know I'm going to get something completely, different.
That character's grown a lot too.
Yeah.
I think we're at a good stopping point. I think we've kind of said a lot of really positive things about Fiona Staples. If it isn't apparent already to our listeners tuning in, that Saga is a great jumping on point.
Good time to catch up.
Yo, for sure, especially during
absolutely.
This, like 8 trades or 2 omnibuses? I think.
I know there are 3 hardcover omnibuses because I own them all. And they went to 54 issues?
54. And Saga is a quick read.
It does read so fast. Damn.
The problem is,
and I would even wait for trades, and I'm like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah,
it's like, damn it, I gotta wait.
I think
6 months.
I think the problem is once you get into once you start Saga,
and
you catch up, you start becoming like very irritated, and that the breaks happen. So,
just fucking come out.
Just work overtime.
Oh, and like the thing too, I just thought of was that I guess all of Hazel's writing is her writing.
Yeah.
She does the hand letter. She hand letters that Saga.
So that's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I will also add, if you can find those 3 issues of Archie.
Oh my god, it's only 3. She only did 3.
Those are worth checking out.
So mad.
I think once you add and the fact that she's gotten to work with such top caliber writers, Brian K. Vaughan and Mark Wade.
Pretty good one to start.
Come on, man.
I can't believe she worked with Stan Lee. That was amazing. When she did that.
But Stan Lee did all the designs and stuff.
Well, of course.
And
all right.
penciled all the roughs in.
Hardy har har. Well, with that being said, listeners, we're going to go on music break. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our Fiona Staples Artist Spotlight. I want to go ahead and thank the patrons once again for voting for Fiona Staples. I thought this was a good installment and switch up from our previous Artist Spotlights. We'll go ahead and get the poll up and ready for our next Artist Spotlight. I'll have to start thinking about some names and things. I think we got a few, but I'll go ahead and get that out there here soon. I will invite our listeners, anyone that is familiar with Fiona Staples, that want to chime in and share maybe their favorite body of work, maybe their favorite character, or their memory of reading Saga for the first time. I'd love to hear it. We'd love to go ahead and read an email in our next episode. Send us a short email at theshortboxjack@gmail.com. Title it Fiona Staples or something easy to find. Right?
And once you actually do get the next Artist Spotlight available, make sure you vote for Junji Ito when that happens.
Yes,
So,
do it.
just make sure.
Kept him off the polls long enough.
Just
Has he ever been on the poll?
I think he has.
Nah, I think he's never been.
We can look that up, Otter.
Listeners,
No, we got to move on. It's music break.
listeners, vote with your heart. Vote with your hearts.
All right, look, in honor of Mark Mangra joining us today, I'd like to play my favorite beat from the batch of beats I got from Mecca. This one is a track called Lila. It's I think you guys will like it. Once again, if you like what you hear as far as like the music on this show, check out more of Mecca the Marvelous's music on his Bandcamp and other streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music. We're going to play the song, and then we'll be right back. We got emails. We're going to go ahead and continue our new segment from last week, and of course, we'll do Champion Season. Stay tuned. We are back once again. That was music by Mecca the Marvelous. I think that track is titled Lila. Once again, if you like what you heard, check out his music on Bandcamp and other streaming services. One more time for Mark Mangra. He just left, and just in time because
he just fled the scene.
He was like, "That's a wrap." But he chose a good time because I think Ashley's Christmas drink is starting to hit right now, and we're on round 2 of this here. So normally we read emails once we get back from music break, but I want to go ahead and save some of those emails for next week. So you still got some time to send us something to read for that next episode. So if you want to share your thoughts on this week's Artist Spotlight, tell us about your favorite Fiona Staples illustration or body of work, share your answer, hell, even ask us a question or share a champion with us. We'll get to it next week. Like I said, send us a short email at theshortboxjacks@gmail.com. I do have an announcement to share before we go into our next segment. I want to go ahead and say, check out our social media. We got an upcoming giveaway. It's going to be a really cool prize in celebration of not only the holidays, but also the Wonder Woman movie release. The giveaway will have been announced by the time this episode airs. So check out our Facebook or Instagram for details. And the last thing I want to share is that January 2nd, which is a Saturday, is the 3-year anniversary of Gotham City Limit. So for all of you that live in Jax or have ever been to Gotham City Limit during one of their big major holiday kind of event or sales, you know that Ben ends up giving some steep discounts on some awesome merch and inventory. So make sure to attend or check out the 3-year anniversary for Gotham City Limit on January 2nd. I'll probably be out there myself. So go out, support the shop on their big milestone. Back to this episode. Last week, we introduced a new segment inspired by Cesar's recent enthusiasm for current and new comics. Ashley, count yourself lucky that you missed out on that initial pilot.
That's great. What are you talking about?
But like I said last week, I want this to become a more permanent segment for the show going forward. So I'm proud to introduce the second installment of our new ongoing segment titled No Comic Shop for Old Men.
No Comic Shop for Old Men.
This is the segment of the show where we will share a new and current comic or series in an attempt to outmatch one another for bragging rights. I guess how do you want to lead us off, man? I mean, this is kind of a segment inspired by you. Have you read any new comics? Do you want to brag about anything?
So glad you asked, Botter. So yeah, I actually hunkered down, and you know me, I'm not really the big two. I've got problems with them. You know, the way someone who was raised a Catholic would have problems with the Catholic Church as an adult. You know, like, yeah, I'm not religious anymore. Blah blah blah. That's how I feel about.
You're
big
spiritual,
two,
not religious.
You know? Right.
Yeah.
But I got to say, man, DC came through.
Oh,
DC came through. They are releasing another Batman black and white anthology book.
That's a great one.
Yes. Have you read it?
Yes, I got it.
Yes. Botter, did you read it?
I picked it up.
Yeah. Did you read it?
No, not yet.
I'm fucking better than you!
Right off my bat.
Ashley, this is pretty much everything you missed last week.
Yeah. Ashley?
Cesar dunking on all of us
Hold on.
because he's actually reading new comics.
Yeah, no, but Ashley, have you read it?
I have not.
I'm fucking better than you.
You got it too.
I'm better than you.
It stings at first, but by the second or third one, you're kind of like, all right.
Yeah, I'm not
Welcome
at
to
the
the
end of
club, buddy.
Okay, but all kidding aside, I am fucking better than you. Two, this is like, seriously, if you like, I will always preach the gospel of anthology books because one, you get more than one story for your money's worth. Like you will, you know, you get, at least in this, you get multiple artists who are talented. You'll get Paul Dini, you'll get J.H. Williams,
Big names.
Yeah. And this is an ongoing thing, so they're just going to keep coming out. I have all of the Batman black and whites, and I look forward to collecting this one hardback as well once it comes out. It's amazing and absolutely incredible. And speaking of incredible, I will say the next one I read. I'm keeping it mainstream, guys. The Immortal Hulk. Again, it's delicious.
Is he allowed to do that, Ed? Have we established rules for this segment yet?
Yeah, wait.
What happened?
No, yeah, you can say it again.
Okay.
You can say it again. It's a monthly recurring thing. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
That's why I threw the
just one
Batman
time
in there.
only?
No, one time only.
He's going to mention
look,
Immortal Hulk every week.
Yeah,
it's going to be like, yo, we fucking get it, dude.
If it deserves it,
Yes.
it gets mentioned.
I'm going to mention
How
Immortal
dare you?
Hulk, but I'm not going to just only mention that as a cop-out. Hence why I brought
said
up
black and white
Batman
first.
Black and White, which is an anthology.
He's trying to get you, bro.
Yeah, I know.
What's up
I
with
know.
that?
I know. He's trying to. You know why he didn't though? Because I'm better than you.
He knows it. He can't stand it.
Oh, I'm fucking better than
Yeah.
I say 5 episodes and this segment dies.
I just
I'm
want to
giving
be
it
like
5
the little
episodes.
kid that hangs around Nelson. You know, he's the bully.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
I honestly, it's very good. How many times have we talked about fucking Immortal Hulk, man? Before people fucking need to jump on this, like it's so gross. It's such a gross book. It's disgusting. It's like a David Cronenberg movie level nasty. But like, there's substance there too. Like anyone that read Marvel growing up knows that the Thing and the Hulk have gone at it multiple times, and every time they go at it, they kind of harken back to that original Jack Kirby sort of like the battle between two big beefy people,
forces
right?
of nature.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Where in this, it's beautiful because they go at it in the first couple pages, and then the rest of the pages, it's them having philosophical debates. You never think that the Hulk and the Thing would be literally sitting in a diner eating
that's
hot
the
dogs.
one with Alex Ross did the cover of them in the diner.
Yes,
that's awesome.
Sitting in the fucking diner eating hot dogs, and the Thing is basically talking to the Hulk like he's like, yeah, well, I think Reed could help you with your problem. And if you've read Immortal Hulk, you'll know that it gets weird and very supernatural. Like there's like a doorway that leads to hell, and it's only like they're like gamma radiation
You
is
were
somehow.
comparing it to like Swamp Thing. Like
Yes, it's
Swamp
exactly
Thing.
like
Yeah.
Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, only with the Hulk, right? And even green people, all that there. You could dive into that a million ways. But the idea that they do bring up hell, and they do bring up there is a one below all as opposed to the one above all in the Marvel universe. And it's funny because, the Thing's trying to convince, the Hulk, like, hey, Reed's the smartest guy I know. Like, he could help. Like, come on, let us help you. Like, you obviously need help. What can we do? I'll eat that hot dog, bro. I bought this for you. And it's cool because the Hulk's like, Ben, you died. And he's like, yeah. And he says, when you passed away, do you remember much? Did you go upstairs or downstairs? And Ben kind of pauses and he goes, upstairs. And then Hulk leans in and he goes, you guys can't help me. Like, I'm like, fuck!
Nice.
That's pretty epic.
Like, Jesus Christ. Like, it's so good. Like, it's so good. I highly recommend it if you guys haven't read it.
And for those anyone interested in checking out that issue, C is talking about Immortal Hulk number 41
Yes.
that came out this week, so the 16th of December.
Yeah.
Ed, have you read any new comics this week?
It's funny you should ask.
Oh, shit.
Steve Scroach, I think that's how you say his name. Post Americana number 1.
Huh.
If you have not read this, it is like Mad Max and Fallout had a just flip through those.
Yeah,
pages,
yeah, man. Yeah.
But if you like Jeff Darrow, that kind of highly detailed artwork, Jeff Darrow did the cover, the one that I have, the variant. But it's a post-apocalyptic, super violent, crazy mutants and like a mountain with like this hidden armada that's America. It's pretty nuts. So it's like it's one of those comics I'll get because the artwork is so good.
Oh, yeah, this is good.
And the story is it's your post-apocalyptic tale, but it has a nice little twist on it. But it's the pictures that'll get you, and that's my pick of the week. And I think this came out maybe 2 weeks ago, but I got Heavy Metal are doing solo comics. So Tarna, one of the iconic figures of that magazine, she has her own series called The Last Tarakian.
Yep, Tarakian.
And it's awesome, nice art. Like I said, Heavy Metal is publishing it, so it's just something that's kind of a nostalgic pick for me more than anything. But those are the two new titles I'm
So let me help Ed out and maybe like set him up for an alley-oop. Ashley, have you read Post Americana?
No, I haven't.
I haven't read Post Americana. Cesar,
I know where you're going with this.
Have you read Post Americana?
I have not.
Oh, I'm better than all of you.
I was like, try it on.
I like it. This
Try it
feels
on.
great.
Feel good?
This feels great. I like this. I like it. 5 segments. My ass. This is gonna be.
Yeah, you're about a size
start of the
feels
show.
good, right?
I know it does feel good.
Yeah, all right.
It got warm and tingly. Maybe it's the vodka.
It's definitely the vodka.
Yeah.
Our listeners are getting to hear us workshop this new segment, so I wanted them to get the full experience. Ashley, what about you? Any new comic books that you checked out this week or picked up?
So it's been a really busy week. I haven't been so I haven't been reading.
Wait, y'all smell that?
This
smells like excuses.
Oh shit!
The stench of excuses.
I did read, so I grabbed
stinky.
The Expanse #1 out through Boom because I was like, at #1 I'm not gonna have when you're so involved in a story, like I have like some strange adventures to read, and I'm just gonna get it just takes so much out of you sometimes to just get back into it, remember.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's just like this whole experience. So I was like, I'm just going to read this Expanse #1. And I didn't realize it was a TV show.
Oh, really?
I had no idea.
Oh, that's funny. I thought you watched the show and you were like, I'll just read this.
So I started it and I was like, I need more information. Then I was like, I should already have more information.
There's like four seasons worth.
So it was a very easy read because I just, I feel like I missed a lot, but it was still good. And then I read, I got the Slaughterhouse 5 graphic novel adaptation. And I started reading through that. And it's good because I love the novel, but this is like a quick way to read through it.
She's getting all fancy.
Right? Like I was
on
like,
us.
Jesus Christ, Kurt Vonnegut over here.
And it has really nice illustrations. I think is Albert Montes is like a Spanish illustrator. So that was it for me. It was kind of a light week, but I read.
Dang. Okay. Now, see, this is why I don't feel bad anymore because she's like, guys, I guess I read something. I might have picked up an original copy of Ivanhoe. Les Mis, the comic.
Well, Ashley, would you like to?
I've never read any of the books that she mentioned.
Ashley, would you like to ask the rest of us if we have partaked or enjoyed
in
said
either
books?
of them?
Yeah.
Two said books?
Yeah.
Yes, I have not read either.
I've never read any of those.
Okay. I'm going to be nice about it, though.
Whoa! High Road, Ashley.
But what does it sound like when you're nice about it?
High Road, huh? No.
That's a good name. That's a real good name.
Ashley
Ashley
High
taking
Road.
the high road.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
Ashley
one
High
thing.
Road.
Too
Wait.
cool for school, Ashley.
Maybe that's the thing is one of us every time has to take the high road. One of us every time.
Maybe this should be in the pre-production
Right.
meeting.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this stuff.
No, we're workshopping, baby. We're workshopping.
Okay, you can cut this out.
But until then, I'm fucking better than you. I'm better including you, all of you, all of you botters.
So, I guess this might be cheating, but I wanted to highlight a new book that I picked up this week. I haven't gotten around to it yet, only because it's been a really
No, you have
busy
to have
week.
read it.
All right,
You have to have read it.
can I just like?
What is this guy doing?
Yeah, what the fuck?
What is going on
What the
here?
fuck? I put the time in?
I didn't even read it.
I mean, I picked. I'm going to read it. Like it is.
yeah.
It is at the very top.
Okay, we're going on intent
Yeah.
now. Okay.
There's a pizza at 5-star
Yeah.
that I'm going to order.
Yeah.
I'm going to order it, guys.
Doesn't mean anything.
All right.
until we put that
So,
money
so
down.
I just can't get involved in this one. Right. Okay. Cool. All right. No, that's fair. That's
Man,
fair.
You know what?
That's fair. All right. Cool.
It's deceptive.
Damn. I had.
So you can just stockpile a bunch of shit and say, "Oh yeah, I got this."
No. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
All right. I
Wait.
won't mention it until I read it. How about that? Next week I'll be ready. Next week I'll be ready.
I have a serious question.
Here we go.
Have either of you ever read The White Trees by Zdarsky?
Oh yeah,
Did you read it?
yeah,
Yeah. That's pretty good.
yeah.
There's only 2 issues.
I was gonna say they're big issues, but there's only
Yes.
2.
Yes. Did you read it?
No, but may I propose real quick? Wait,
no.
don't you motherfucker! I will mute your mic. I swear to God, I will
I
mute your
wasn't
mic.
going to say anything, but the desperation in your eyes made me laugh hysterically.
May I propose something as part of our rules? You can
Okay.
only initiate and enjoy the sweet victory of saying I'm better than you if no one else has read it. So the fact that
That's
Ashley
fair.
has read this,
Yeah, I wasn't
you
going to
should-
drop one, dude.
no, I saw it in
Wasn't
your
gonna
eyes.
drop
I
one.
saw it in your
You
fucking
got
eyes.
scared, man. You got
I did.
scared.
I was like, if I hear that again,
Bro, this guy's fucking scared.
That's a fair
dude.
rule.
I was just going to...
Not like your don't have to read it rule.
Right. Right.
Some of that.
There's nothing... That's
lame.
just as fair. Just as fucking fair.
okay. All right, I thought this was a good one.
This was a nice
good one.
I think we got all the meat from that bone.
Yeah.
Next episode, I'll be ready for it. All right, I'm telling you, I'm giving this 5 episodes, and it just disappears.
Yo, you better watch it.
Better
I'm gonna
start
come
reading
up
those
with
comic
fucking
books then.
fringiest shit you ever heard of, man.
Sorry, I'm just so busy editing all these episodes.
Oh, just for clarification.
Oh, you
come
okay? You okay?
Get that violin music queued up.
Jesus, man. You want a wham burger with your French fries?
all right, it was a good one.
Oh,
This
just
was a good one.
to
Somebody call the wambulance.
just to clarify, what's the time frame for new issues? Like
I'm gonna
within
say
the month.
this.
Within the month.
Within the month?
within the month? Okay.
Dude, give it within the year because it's 12 issues. Yeah, why not?
Here.
Why
Within
not?
the year.
You don't know, man. COVID's got people in different places.
I feel like if this is going to be about new comics,
Okay.
I think
To the
a
people
month-
that read this month, let's all decide. Let's all decide.
So I have just a suggestion.
Okay.
At the comic shop, we leave the issues up on the wall for 3 to 4 months,
Perfect.
usually
Under 6 months.
before taking them down.
There
So
we
if you
go.
can still get them off the comic shop wall,
That's a
Still
great
talk
idea.
about
That's
it.
a great idea.
That's a good
Yes.
idea.
So
That's a
6
good idea.
sounds like 3-4 months is our limit.
Yo, you were
Yeah.
about to say 6, maybe 10 months.
No, I'm trying to. So 3 to 4 months. It's got to be within a 4-month time frame for you to bring it up.
Yeah.
we consider it new.
4-ish, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
That's
cool.
fair. That's
I like
fair.
it. I like it.
That's fair. This is
Make it
good.
up
I
as we
like
go
this, man.
along.
This is good.
Ah.
This is
All right.
good.
Okay. Well, I think we're done with our No Comic Shop for Old Men segment, which brings us to our last segment of the show, our old trusty and faithful, the one that I know I can be involved in this week.
I mean, nobody told you not to. Like, it was all on you.
It's been one of those weeks, man. But let's go ahead and jump into our champion season segment. Our champion season segment, for those of you tuning in for the first time, it's the last segment of the show, but it's our opportunity to go around the table and highlight a few things in the pop culture that we feel that has really resonated with us this week. It could be a comic book, a movie, a TV series, a video game, etc. Whatever it may be, it's something that we feel, hey, this is really dope. More people should be checking it out. Ashley, how about you do us the honors today and kick us off? What do you want to champion?
So I just got HBO Max, and
Oh, shit.
the first thing that I watched was Class Action Park. Has anyone know? So it's this it's like this adventure park that was in New Jersey.
Oh,
And it was known for
I've
just
heard of this. Okay.
people
getting
died
hurt?
at this place. Like people got hurt. It was insane.
Was
they
that
made
the Johnny Knoxville based on that? That Johnny Knoxville movie?
I know what you're talking
I
about.
never saw
I don't
that.
know. I don't know if it is or not, but I know what
Okay.
you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, they designed rides like honest to God without like researching anything without having engineers involved. They had this like loop ride where the guy just drew a circle or like a loop on a piece of paper and he goes to make the ride look like that. People lost teeth, like broke bones.
Oh my God.
It was insane. And this park was open for like years.
How much money did they save though?
Yeah.
And then when they had
Water.
lawsuits brought against them, the guy just wouldn't pay until the police came, and then he's like, "All right." This thing is crazy. Like it's such a
Welcome
cool
to
documentary.
Borderland, everyone.
This is in like New York or where
New
is this?
Jersey.
Of course.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, so all the people from New York would come to this water park in the summer.
It's
And
a trick.
It's insane. Like you will not even believe the stuff they got away with. It was really good.
Damn.
That's like what 70s, 80s.
I think the 80s. Yeah.
What a time.
So out of this massive library that HBO Max has to offer,
Yeah.
this is the one I got you. Okay.
Ashley
That's what I
found the one
started
that was the grimiest.
Yeah.
And then I started
I want some
rewatching.
real deaths in my TV.
I started rewatching The Wire, but
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Actually, your
Damn.
cool points are ridiculous. Like somewhere,
The Wire?
Yeah, somewhere Andrew and Adam are crying because they have been trying to convince me to watch The Wire maybe longer
like, The
than Game
Wire?
of Thrones.
Really?
Yeah, this is your second time watching The Wire?
Yeah.
Damn. All right, I got to get on that train. I got to get on the Ashley train. Ed, what do you want to champion today?
I'm going to champion. This was, I think, maybe last week, but Adventure Man. We are late on issues,
Oh,
so
hell yeah, look
we're
at
going to make
that.
this big hardcover so you shut your mouths till we can get issue 5. Which,
Oh,
so this is basically a deluxe format of Matt Fraction and the Dodsons Adventure Man.
wonderful.
Awesome book. This is like a stopgap because I'm thinking they are late because issue 5 should have been out maybe the last couple months, but they put this in to satiate us idiots that'll buy this over again. But it does have some sketches in the back. It's a larger format hardcover. Probably one of my favorite titles of this year. So like I said, if you haven't checked out Adventure Man, this is a cool starting out point. And if you like a nice deluxe hardcover, some really beautiful art in it, definitely recommend that.
I always love the oversized books.
Yeah.
The only problem is you realize, like, damn it, I ain't got no room on the bookshelf because these sizes are always, like, fucking weird.
I got some big boy spaces. So
Damn, I need to step my game up. All right. Ed, did you have anything else to
Nope,
champion?
that's it.
All right. See, I'm going to pass it to you. What do you want to champion?
Dude, and I have you to thank for this. I'm going to champion.
Finally.
Wow.
Finally, some fucking credit.
Dude, you sent me a text earlier about Cartoonist Kayfabe doing an episode on Tim Vigil and how they had these outlaw comics.
The Batman one?
Yes.
Yes.
They did one on his Batman where it is straight porn.
Bootleg Batman, dude.
like-
Vigil don't give a fuck about
It's
nothing.
fucking great. The artwork's amazing.
It is.
Like, it is ridiculous how good it is. Like,
But did you catch what they said at the beginning where it's like, I never sold this.
yeah, right.
This is
right.
I
Like
don't want DC.
yeah,
I don't want
emotional.
Warner Brothers coming after me.
Oh yeah. It's
They do
fucking,
like an hour
Jim
interview.
and Ed are freaking hilarious, and how like you told me like they're both sort of navigating this like awkwardly because it's straight like pornographic in the worst way. Like you're like Jesus Christ, like. What the hell? Like Harley's giving the Joker a blowjob and he comes in her mouth.
Yeah.
And you could see, like they draw it and she's like, goop. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? Is this for real?
dude.
Is this
What's-
real?
And what's cool outside of the subject matter is just it's like half done. It's all like Xerox
Right.
done pages, so you get to see like, oh, that's cool. He started inking here. And
This
he never
dude-
bothered inking this. It's like, oh, this is just people talking. He didn't give a
Right.
shit about this.
Right.
But
Dude-
the blowjob, fully inked.
Yeah.
Fully.
Like I was amazed at
Yeah,
the
that was a good one.
perspective, dude. The perspective in it is so fucking flawless. Like he actually does all of like the horizon line,
Yeah.
draw out the freaking
He's not putting, like, a
2
photo.
points. Yeah, like it's no
High contrast
He
photo.
could use some sort of visual reference, but he's not. Like it's everything is so masterfully done. Like it made me want to dive down a Tim Vigil.
It's like what they teach
sort
you
of
in
like
drawing
whole-
class, but you never want to do.
No, yeah, like he does it like effortlessly.
Perspective lines.
Yeah, it's so good, man.
I love because Jim is such a Jim Rugg is such like a friendly, like he's so like I think to me he's the heart of the group, and to hear him and Ed like, oh yeah, this is a lot going on in this scene right here. Right?
He's like, he's PG.
Dude, like they sound like youth pastors that found a box of porn. And they're like, what? Oh,
what do we got going on here?
This young lady, what's happening here? This is
I wonder why she reacts like this.
This is
that was a fun episode. It made me want to check out more of Tim Vigil's work, mainly Faust.
Oh
because that is
don't watch the movie.
That is one that they that Cartoonist Kayfabe like brings up a lot.
That's
like,
his main deal,
right? That's his creator-owned shit. Where it is, and also
I remember like a friend of mine like. You have one of those friends who was into that weird shit.
Every guy had a friend like that.
Like, hey man, if you checked out Faust, you're like reading Spider-Man. You're innocent, and then oh my god,
yeah, you're like reading JR's run in the '90s, and this guy's like, "Have you read Faust yet?" And he's got he's like
he rolls up in a trench coat.
He's got a green army jacket, and his mom smokes really bad, and like he doesn't ever really stay at school.
Yeah,
he's always like that kid. It's just there, like, yeah, I like Iron Maiden, and you're like, well, I like Spider-Man. He's like, nerd. Would you like comics? Some Faust? And you're like, yeah. Oh my God, what's she doing?
Ashley, are you familiar with Tim Vigil's artwork?
No.
Or body? Okay.
No.
Treat yourself.
Okay.
Treat yourself.
We're better than. Oh wait, wrong segment. Wrong segment.
So you got anything else to champion?
Yeah, actually, the only other thing is Martin Scorsese created a list of the 11 scariest horror films. And I'm looking forward to going through them because some of the ones he put on there I've seen, some of them I haven't, which is kind of fun. It's kind of neat. Yeah. Oh, he's got a lot of older films like The Changeling, The Entity, Dead of Night, The Innocents, The Uninvited. A lot of stuff from the 40s. Couple stuff from the 60s, The Haunting from the 60s.
Spit on Your Grave.
No, God, no. Yeah. Cannibal Holocaust. No, he didn't do that. But I'm interested. I'm interested in watching some of these because he really liked Hereditary, which is where I first heard like, oh shit, like Scorsese saw. Wow, Ari Aster is on Scorsese's like radar. Yeah. That's kind of cool, And he's like, I really enjoyed that film, and not the supernatural elements were also very, very scary. What I loved was the drama. Drama of the family was amazing. It could serve as
Toni Collette is like
she carries it. She carries it. Like he nailed it, like describing it. And then they asked him like, well, what about you? Like, what are your favorite scary movies? And he's just like, I'm so glad you asked. And then it became this thing on the internet. And I'm like, fuck, all right, that's cool. So that's my those are my champions, buddy.
All right, I've got two to share. I have been in a like Notorious B.I.G. Mood all week, so I revisited. The first album, Ready to Die, this week. So I want to champion that, specifically the 2004 remastered version of the album, because the album came out in 1994, and it's gone through a couple of like re-releases, but the 2004 remastered one is really solid. Like it is a night and day difference, audio quality wise. And Ready to Die is just one of those like pivotal, all-time great albums. It's always usually at the top of the list when you start talking about like greatest albums of all time. I will go ahead and throw my rap card on the table and ask you guys. Maybe it was maybe you guys didn't know this neither, but do you guys know what BIG stands for? I was today years old when I found out. Essentially,
go ahead, lay it on us.
BIG stands for business instead of game. And as long as I've been a fan of rap, and Biggie specifically, I've never bothered to ask what the fuck.
You're like,
BIG?
Why the fuck are those periods?
Yeah,
I get it. Yeah, I get it, Chris. It looks cool. It looks cool.
A hefty gentleman.
I will say, in my eyes, I think that album is perfect from top to bottom. And the two songs I will highlight just very quickly is one, Juicy, which everyone probably knows by heart at this point. It's like the quintessential rags to riches kind of spirit that hip hop invokes. And it is, aside from just being a good sounding song and its impact, you can go anywhere. And once Juicy plays, the whole fucking place is probably going to really be into it. And then the other song I'll mention that, and this is what I like about Ready to Die. It's like it appeals to a broad range. And this is where you can kind of give credit to Puff Daddy, because he had a vision of like producing an album that appealed to not only like diehard hip hop heads, but also to appeal to fucking the commercial, to radio and things like that. So it's a well-balanced album, in my opinion, but There's a song on there called "The What" with Method Man that is absolutely amazing. And when you juxtapose it with Juicy, it is like this is the song that they needed to make sure that diehard hip hop heads in the fucking early 90s wanted to hear. So yeah, Ready to Die, the 2004 remastered series. If you never listened to rap, I mean, it's a phenomenal album to start out with. If you are a hip hop head, it's one of those albums that like you kind of forget about going back to listen because it's such a staple and sometimes oversaturated of how good it is. But I just had one of the moods where I just wanted to hear Biggie, and I played the album from top to bottom. I'm like, man, this is truly like a masterpiece. Like Biggie is a fucking legend to me. Like just something like, man, the kid was 24 when he died, and the legacy he left. I mean, it's like this is crazy that some people got to like witness him at his prime, and like he's still being talked about in such high regard now. So yeah, Ready to Die, I'll champion that.
So Nas is Illmatic. Got it. Thank you, Butter.
And then the other thing I'll champion is there is another spectacular Humble bundle sale. This one is once again another of their Image Comics bundles. So and I've championed when they did their first sale earlier this year, but they're doing another big Image digital comics sale. So Humble Bundle is an online store. They teamed up with Image Comics for another new bundle of comics that you can buy. And they're all digital comics, of course. But, I mean, the books they include in this sale, I mean, you get first volumes of Luther Strode, Rumble, Undiscovered Country, Jupiter's Legacy, Old Guard, some Criminal and Ed Brubaker stuff. It's just like a lot. Like it was like too much to list out because it'd be its own episode. But every purchase that you make also supports like a charity. So the 3 that you get to choose from when you check out is like St. Jude Children's Hospital, Make-A-Wish, and then Comic Book for Kids. There's 4 different tiers. There's a $1 tier that has like whatever 5-10 books, $8 that you get that tier plus another 5-10 books, and so on and so on. So the highest tier that they got, I think, is a $20 tier that includes every single book available for sale. I think when I downloaded it, it was well over 50, if not closer to like 70 full runs too. It's like Luther Strode. When you pay the $20 tiers, which is what I paid, you get like Luther Strode volume 1 through 3 and all of these other series. I mean, it's a great it is a great sale for anyone wanting to get into, I would recommend it for anyone trying to get into comics, but also anyone that wants to fill in certain gaps. If you're an Image fan and you just, I just don't have the money to purchase or the space to buy the physical copies. This is a great sale for $25. Like I said, I got well over 50, 70 comic books. The sale has about 17 days left at the time of this recording, so it probably's got another 2 weeks. But I will go say, don't sleep on it if you're looking for a great comic sale. If you're a digital reader, there's no reason not to buy like $1 or $8 tier. And yeah, a Humble Bundle just kind of tends to have these really dope sale. So I'm looking forward to see what else they do, partnering with like other comic book publishers. And that's what I'll champion today. Notorious B.I.G., Ready to Die, and then the Discover Image Humble Bundle sale, which I think brings us to a good closing for this episode. Do you guys have any closing remarks or comments before we sign off?
Nothing, man. Just happy to talk about Fiona Staples and looking forward to more of the stuff she puts out, man.
Yeah, I agree. I want to definitely put a spotlight back on the patrons for voting for Fiona Staples. Like I said in the intro, she is not only the first woman in comics that we've covered, but also like the youngest and most modern comic book artist that we've covered in this Artist Spotlight series. So thanks again to the patrons for doing that due diligence and pointing us in that direction. I've also got 2 kind of selfish plugs or shout outs. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Tom Pandich. He invited me to the first ever, to their first, I guess he's doing like an anime club here in Jax. They're going to be like showcasing different anime movies at Sunray. I think it was him and then his partner, Lindsay Graham, I believe her name was. I think her name was Lindsay. But they want to do an ongoing anime club. And I just want to give a shout out to Tom for extending the invite. He had a good amount of people show up at Sunray. And the movie that they showed, which I can't recall off the top of my head, was actually pretty good. Like, regardless of like what I thought going in, it was actually really fun. And the last thing I want to shout out once again is to Tony A. Uppy and his son, who has dubbed us the podcast with all the cussing.
I like it.
Boy.
I like it.
I
know Tony was really...
Tony, you failed.
Yeah, I know.
All right? You dropped the ball,
Tony,
buddy.
I'm embracing that.
I know Tony was really excited for us to cover Fiona Staples. So hopefully, brother, we lived up to the expectations
man.
and the hype. Next week, I'll go ahead and give you guys a preview of the last episode that we'll be doing for this year. Next Sunday, we'll be recording our Wonder Woman review.
Dun, dun, dun.
We're going to go see it as a family, a little
Family time. Field trip.
Yeah, a little field trip to go watch Wonder Woman. So we'll be talking about Wonder Woman as well as our own twist on the end of year recap. I mean, it's no surprise that we've done end of year recaps in previous episodes. So we'll be talking about our favorite comic books, movies, and moments from the year of 2020. So that'll be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. With all that being said, listeners, this is the end of our show today. Now it's your turn to chime in and tell us what you thought about this week's Artist Spotlight episode. Let us know what your favorite project by Fiona Staples is or how you got introduced to her work. Give us something to read next week by sending us a short email at theshortboxjacks@gmail.com or hit us up on social media. I personally want to acknowledge and thank the people who made today's episode possible, our sponsor, Gotham City Limit, my amazing panel of co-hosts, and a special recognition goes out to our Patreon subscribers who help us keep the lights on here at the Shortbox Studio. If you enjoyed the podcast and you're in a position to support the show with a small donation, consider becoming a Shortbox patron. Rewards you with bonus episodes and other perks. Visit patreon.com/shortbox to find out more. Thanks again for tuning in this week. You can be listening to any other podcast, but you're here with us, and that means a lot. We'll be back next week with one more episode to close out the year, so stay tuned to your favorite podcast app of choice to catch it when it drops. In the meantime, have a great week. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year if we don't catch it before then. Continue to make mine and yours Shortbox, and keep it geeky.